Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for joining this monthly community update. The month of August here at the International Institute is particularly busy because of the Festival of Nations, which is coming up the 24th and 25th of August. So in this meeting, we're going to talk a little bit about that and talk about the community engagement that we're seeing, community collaborations, the massive participation of volunteers, and what we're looking forward to experiencing during the festival. But besides the festival, we continue to see the increasing trends of both refugee and immigrant arrivals into St. Louis, and how we continue to work with and rely on community partners for their support in welcoming our new arrivals into the community. So we're going to talk a little bit about those arrivals and touch on the various arrivals we're seeing, as well as the trends. Before we go on to review the agenda, I just want to thank everyone for, again, the continuous support that we see, both from the community partners, but also from the staff team. It's taken a lot of patience and collaboration for us to achieve the significant work that we have achieved in the last 7 months. The team here at the International Institute, but also the community partners, we have all had to stretch ourselves to be open to this significant number of arrivals. We have had challenges along the way as we've gone. We've found some solutions, breakthrough sometimes in housing, which typically would last 2 weeks, and then we'll have to deal with it again. We've seen working in close collaboration with our healthcare partners, the St. Louis public schools. All of that collaboration has really been helpful for us. And I know, so, it's like I said, it's not always been easy, but it's really collaboration that makes it work. And collaboration sometimes is not always easy. It's challenging, but it's putting the purpose of the work that we do ahead of our individual organizations that really does help us come through when we have those challenging circumstances. So I want to thank you all for that. I'm going to just do a quick review of the agenda here for the meeting. Our agenda today is going to cover the new arrival updates. There's ongoing conversation around the Special Committee on Immigrant Crime, that we're going to just talk a little bit about how we view that, how we're positioning ourselves for that, but also what the community can do, or our community partners can do. Then obviously I mentioned the Festival of Nations, which our team here is going to cover. Our director for the festival will cover that. Then upcoming events that we're going to highlight and just touch on the strategic planning process, its progress that's being made for the International Institute, and any community shout out or volunteer opportunities. We'll be taking questions as we go along, just so we make sure that we don't run out of time and not be able to take the questions at the end. So at this point, I'm going to call on the director of our director here for resettlement, Asmira, to just give us an update on our refugee arrivals.
Good afternoon, everyone. as the end of our fiscal year approaching very fast. Every month we receive more and more refugee. Comparing number that we receive in June, like 41 people, in July we did have 36 cases with 147 individuals. In August, we already have on our list 55 cases with 169 individuals. I just want to let you know, like, numbers are changing on daily basis, and they're just adding people. And as our projection is 1,500 refugees this year to resettle, we are hoping we will accomplish that goal by October 1st when our new fiscal year start. So in previous month, June, July, mostly we did receive people from Somalia, for Democratic Republic of Congo, Afghanistan, Syria, Burma. But in August, I did see demographic changes, and we resettling right now more and more people, Latinos from Latino countries, from Venezuela, Ecuador, Nicaragua. And like 10 days ago, I went to Washington, D.C., and they told us we will get more and more Spanish-speaking population, specifically first quarter in our fiscal year. Okay, they also told us that we will get, like, United States will get between 25 and 30,000 refugees for the first quarter. So we are preparing for the huge number of refugees in this year and then also in the next year. So I'm appealing to the community to help us with the housing. Please, if you see any ads, somebody wanna rent, please contact our housing, because we have like a hard time to find houses right now. We do like putting some cases in hotel for a couple of days. It buying us some time to find houses for the family. So if you know anyone who is willing to rent, please let us know. That's it. If you guys have a question later, let me know. I just want to say we are very busy. We are trying to do our best and try to help our newcomers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Asmira, for that. Talking about housing, you know, there's a lot of conversations going on. We've even been working closely now with the city and some property management companies. Hopefully, we're going to see a breakthrough in a few hundred apartments coming up, and hopefully that will. Asmira, we haven't had time to talk to you this morning, but Carlos, myself, Pedro, and two people from the housing team were just on a call where we spoke about potential breakthrough for a few hundred apartments. So hopefully that helps, right?
It will. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, we are doing our best. And as I said, we have only few families, actually 4 right now at hotel. So housing doing a very good job. So
yeah. And just to follow up on those hotel bills, because you know what we sometimes spend in a hotel is really what they, you know, at the end of the day could cover their 3 months rent. So if we could avoid the hotel, it's always better. But the only way that we can avoid that is having housing set up in advance of arrivals. And sometimes, you know, we don't get enough notice for those arrivals. But if we could proactively, based on what we're trying to do now, proactively work with property management companies to have access to the rental unit so we can set them up and just match families with it. That's what we're working on now, and hopefully that would be a good breakthrough.
Yeah, as you said, like we get notifications sometimes less than 12 hours before they arrive, especially for those Afghans from Albania, Qatar, or Germany. And you have to understand they're a large family. Like last week, we have family of 13 members. Tomorrow, we will have family of 11 members. So it is very difficult for us to find, big like a house or apartment to fit all those people. So mostly they're like a larger family.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll keep working. Keep working. So I'm going to call on the vice president here for talent development and advocacy. Blake, if you can talk a little bit about walk-ins, because more than just refugee arrivals, we're also seeing an uptick in the number of people that are just walking to our doorsteps, and we are also working to provide services to those people. So Blake, if you can just give us a sense of what's going on with that.
We're seeing an average of about 50 walk-ins a month, which is really putting our new arrivals seen per month at about 200. This is, we've seen shifting patterns in terms of where folks are coming from as walk-ins. Earlier in the spring, we were seeing a lot of human Haitian walk-ins, and we still see quite a few through July that has kind of settled down a bit here so far in August. And we have continued to see increased Ukrainian walk-ins since legislation passed to allow them to continue to receive support through Office of Refugee Resettlement program. So the walk-in totals, the numbers have been relatively similar, but the composition has been changing here over the last couple of months. I do want to draw attention to that note of case size. 1.8 in June, 2 in July, 2.3 in August. We had seen a lot of amongst the Haitians and Cubans, smaller cases, cases of 1 or 2 individuals. And with the large number of Afghans walking in the month of August, that really kind of kicked up the average case size. So we are starting to see more families coming in as walk-ins, families with complex needs. Families that have actually been resettled by the other local refugee resettlement agency, ICNA, who are looking to connect to additional services that are not available through that provider. So we think that this could be a trend that continues in terms of seeing some referrals coming from ICNA, and we kind of hang on month by month when it comes to the walk-ins from other countries. But we are seeing sort of a steady stream and something of an increased stream over the last few months.
Thank you very much, Blake, for that. This is something that we're keeping our eyes on, and that collaboration that goes beyond just one agency with referrals coming from other agencies to ours is again the story of how we're doing this work in St. Louis, is collaborating, working with other organizations to be able to provide the support that is needed for the new arrivals within the community, whether they come to us as refugees or they just walk to and sign up for some of the programs that we have. We're working collaboratively to support everyone. But the walk-in numbers is continuing to increase. I think this is a trend. I think more and more people are hearing about St. Louis. More people are hearing about the work that's being done here by the International Institute. More people are making the choice and decision to move to St. Louis. With that, I will go on to that leads us to the Latino Outreach Initiative, and I'll turn this to Vice President Carlos Ramirez to talk about that initiative and how we're making progress with that.
Hello, everyone. As I was introduced, Carlos, just wanted to give you an update on where we are. Total people that we have served to date are 203, and we have 237 people on the wait list. So if I could add to Asmira's plea of housing, but the good news is, as Ray mentioned, we are on the cusp of possibly getting a landslide amount of housing, and we are working with the city to work on other bigger projects. So we're not working with just individual renters individual owners. We're really looking at more of a wholesale outlook, as Array has asked us to do. So from Chicago, we have a total of 51 people. It's about a 50-50 split from individuals to families. And really, no surprise, word of mouth is really leading the opportunities in all the cities that I've gone to. We have had 6 cases drop out, and honestly, that's the extent of our that's our largest dropout, really. But when you look at 203 people, that's not too bad to have that dropout. And mostly it was just that coming from Chicago, the language they were adjusting to, and you know, we are working on our jobs department with some of our turnover of staffing to be able to help them get jobs quicker. But I think we're on top of all of that, and you know, we definitely have more success stories than just 6 cases dropping out. New York, we're up to 24 people. We're working with 2 different groups now. Tent Group was the original group we were working with. That were working with Gate Group near the airport to give them jobs right away. We've started working with Cherokee Federal, which they run a couple of shelters in New York City, and that's really where the majority of our new why our wait list is 237 is because we're getting a ton of potential people coming from New York City. The largest segment is actually 103 people from St. Louis, and these are people that have, and while there are 103 people in St. Louis, many of them and the majority of them are actually living somewhere else. We didn't necessarily have to set them up with housing. We're helping them with their work permits. We're helping them with jobs. We're helping them with the other services that we offer. But the majority of those people have really been coming here because they knew somebody here and are living with somebody else. Boston, right now, we have 2 families, 7 people total, but that is about to be on an uptick. We have about, I think, 10 families that are in the front of the line. So as soon as we get some things worked out with the state of Massachusetts and the city of Boston, we expect a lot of people coming from Boston. Denver, we've had a couple of individuals. I think that's been a little bit more challenging than I was expecting. Florida and Ohio, they're just people that word of mouth have come to us. So Florida, we've had a total of 12 people. In Ohio, 1 individual. So I'm certain that once we really get our housing where it needs to be, we will get more people from all these cities, and certainly from some of the more, like, not obscure, but you know, Cleveland, Ohio, or you know, Kissimmee, Florida, just people that are randomly calling us. So we are expecting to get more people for sure. Next slide, please. New York City, as I mentioned, we're working with Cherokee Federal, and we're also getting a second wave of clients from Tent. Boston, we've been collaborating with Clearway Solutions, who manages the new immigrants in Boston. I've gone there a couple times, and potentially going to travel back again at the end of this month. But we are expecting a significant amount of people coming from Boston. As I mentioned, Denver slowly trickling in. Kansas and Kansas City specifically, and planning a trip later in August, determine how we can work together. I've been contacted by and reached out to the Kansas City assistant to the mayor, because they're looking to see how we can collaborate there. So obviously that's an easy lift coming from Kansas City. And I'm eventually planning a trip to Cuba to see if we can get people, rather than having them go to other cities in the United States, if we get some information out there, and rather than them going to the border, going to these other states, if we can get them to work it out where they're coming directly from Cuba to St. Louis, I think that could probably alleviate a lot of issues, not only on the border, but in these other cities, and for the immigrants themselves who are having problems in shelters. Also know some people that are involved with the government in the Dominican Republic. So not only will we possibly bring Dominicans that have the potential to have work permits, but also there are a lot of Venezuelans and Haitians in the Dominican Republic that are in shelters that we're trying to figure out how many of those people are eligible for work permits to potentially bring them here. So we have a lot going on. We have a team that's pivoting and transitioning very well, and we're doing the best we can for clients. And I believe that's it for me. You're muted, Array.
Sorry about that. Thanks a lot, Carlos. Very exciting opportunities there opening up in Boston and New York for St. Louis. So we keep monitoring that and working towards that. Well, we also have something going on here, which is the Afghan Community Support Program. Just before I talk a little bit about this, the Afghan Women Sewing Program, we continue to see a lot of secondary migration of Afghans into St. Louis. I've just been looking in the last week alone. We've seen about 3 families moving from California, moving into the St. Louis area. So overall, I think we've exceeded 400 secondary migrants that are Afghans that went to different parts of the country that are here. Another interesting piece is the significant number of Afghans that are coming into St. Louis from Albania, which I know that we worked with community stakeholders to engage the Albanian numbers. I've been trying to I think we've exceeded over 100 that have come to us from Albania. I think 2 of whom are actually working here at the International Institute as a result of our outreach efforts. So the Afghan Community Center is up and running now, with several activities taking place there, several collaborations. I see Jason from Monarch is on the call, and the work that they've been doing with in terms of behavioral health support. I appreciate that. That keeps the community center going. And we are also introducing this Afghan women sewing classes that is designed to kick off in September, and that will be providing training to a certain number of Afghan women. The goal here is we're investing $15,000 to support this program so that these women can actually get the skill set that is needed for them to be able to operate a business from their home, since this is something that is challenging with this particular group of women, unable to, because they have large families and have to take care of the children. Hopefully this is something that makes a difference and something that can continue bringing activity to the Afghan Community Center. We also have the Afghan Chamber of Commerce that has kicked off. The last time I learned that there were already about 36 businesses that had signed up for that. So that program is achieving the goals that we set out for ourselves. And really, at the end of the day, we were hoping that it would lead to secondary migration of Afghans into St. Louis, and that is happening in itself and will continue to happen. And only recently, a documentary was screened at High Point movie theater, which really tells the story of this Afghan Community Support Program. The movie title is Gateway to a New Life, and I hope, and I know that we're working to have a screening of that movie here at the International Institute, but it really captures the essence of the work that we've done with this program in the last 2.5 years in resettling Afghans here in St. Louis. And hopefully that's a program, that's a movie screening that is going to be screened across the United States and why not the world. But it really puts St. Louis in the center of the conversation. And whilst with that election year, there's so much conversation about immigration at a national level, here locally, we are approaching it with a different perspective and have the receipts to show that it's really working to develop the community, as opposed to everything that is said in the headlines nationally. And with that in mind, it brings me to something that's going on here around the state. And this is the House Special Interim Committee on Illegal Immigrant Crimes, which I'm going to turn this over to our Vice President for Talent Development and Advocacy here, Blake Hamilton, to talk about this this committee, which is controversial to an extent.
Yes, to say the least. The House Special Interim Committee on Illegal Immigrant Crimes was established on July 2nd of this year by House Speaker Dean Plocher of Des Peres, District 89. In his charging of the committee, he said that the committee will use data to develop evidence-based policies aimed at reducing illegal immigrant crime. But this committee has met several times, and they are currently on a listening tour around the state. They have had listening sessions in Springfield and Joplin, Kansas City, and St. Joseph as of today. Through the testimony that's been provided, it goes through partners like the Hispanic Leaders Group and others. The focus of the committee has broadened and I would say softened. They now say that they're looking not only at crimes committed by undocumented immigrants, but also at crimes committed against undocumented immigrants. And the focus of this, they say, is seeking data. They say that there's not sufficient data to understand the scope of these problems in Missouri, and really seeking expert testimony to be able to get more hard information that they might be able to make a recommendation or suggest legislation to address. On the next slide, you'll see the hearing dates for these various listening sessions. As I said, they've completed listening sessions in Springfield, Joplin, Kansas City as of yesterday, and today there is a listening session at present for St. Joseph. The next one is going to be here in St. Louis, and unfortunately this time we don't have information about the date or time, or the time or location, I should say, of that meeting. And of course, once we have that information, we will share that out with this group. And I did want to make mention this committee is 25 members strong, with really only 3 members representing the St. Louis region. Del Taylor, who represents a portion of North County and City, David Castile, who represents portions of Jefferson County and High Ridge, and Jim Murphy, who represents the area of South County. We would really encourage anybody who has an opinion about the formation of this committee, its scope, or information to share, to really reach out to these elected officials and provide that. And there's opportunities to do this through the coalition I put here on this slide. The Missouri Immigrant Policy Coalition is one organization that's organizing a response through testimony to these hearings. The other groups that are engaging this, of course, the Hispanic Leaders Group, the International Institute, the Hispanic Bar Association, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Ethnic Community Opioid Response Network, and many more. But really, we were hopeful that we can have a broad set of stakeholders, both public and private, that would be willing to talk not just about the specific focus of this committee, but even more broadly about really the economic impact of immigrants is something that has been impactful in terms of the testimony that's been provided. But the other key areas of testimony are listed here. Again, the data around crimes against immigrants, community safety and belonging, sort of the notion that welcoming communities are attractive to immigrants, and those that are unwelcoming are not. We are prepared to share some data, but of course, if you in your practice have other information or even anecdotes or stories to share around these items, there's many opportunities to be able to share that, not just in-person public testimony. If you have data that you think the committee should have access to, I would encourage you to please send it to me or any of the other organizations that you saw listed on this document, and we can be preparing that as part of testimony. But there's also the opportunity to provide written testimony. I've included the link there that you'll have once the slideshow goes out, where you can have the opportunity to submit written testimony. And that's a place, if you're not going to be able to be in attendance on the day and time, that is where they are accepting testimony. And it can be, we're really asking folks to focus on these key areas, but anything that you think might be relevant for this this committee in terms of data would be very much welcome to be shared. We are hopeful that at the end of this, there are positive outcomes in terms of data that is integrated into any sort of planning or proposed legislation that might take hold as a result of this formation of the special committee. Many have said that the formation of this committee was merely a political stunt by Plocher, who is seeking a statewide office this fall. But that does not mean that there couldn't be negative legislation that could be generated from this as well. So we are keeping an eye on this, and of course we'll keep all of our partners informed of the progress of this committee, and are hopeful that you would be willing to share testimony in advance of the hearing on September 3rd. Please reach out to me directly. I'll put my email in the chat. Should you have any other input or questions around this, I'd be happy to assist. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Blake, for that update on this committee that's going around and doing some hearings. So if there's anyone that has information, please feel free to reach out to Blake. I think Blake, you just put your information in the chat, email.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention that Casey shared the link for the written testimony. That link will not be live linked to the September 3rd testimony until we get closer to that time period. Usually a few days before, that link will then align the testimony that you submit with that particular hearing. And we want it to be place-based. We want people to know what St. Louisans think of this, or the information that St. Louisans have about this. So keep your eye on that link, and of course we'll let you all know once that is available for the submission of written testimony.
Great. Thank you very much, Blake. We're going to turn this over to, it's festival season, so we're going to talk about the festival now. I'll turn this over to Adina O'Neill, who is the director of the Festival of Nations.
Perfect. So yeah, festival is right around the corner, August 24th and 25th, and we are in a great space. We are wrapping up final details here at the office, and there are a couple of ways that we would love for the community to get involved. So just a little bit about the festival this year. So you've probably seen our artist announcements. So we added another stage this year in partnership with Music at the Intersection and the Kranzberg Art Foundation. So we have over 60 performing artists. The lineup is online. We encourage you to find your favorite artists, check out some new artists, plan a weekend. We definitely want to promote Festival of Nations as a weekend event, not a one-day event. There's so much to see, hear, taste, and do. So check out the artist lineup. We're super excited. We've got some great folks coming in from around the country, some international acts, and some amazing local St. Louis acts too. So this year we are launching our first annual international fashion show. So Brandon Vaughn is producing the fashion show along with 5 international fashion designers. And it has been really fun to be a part of this process. We had a model call where we had over 90 folks come and audition to walk. We'll have over 70 looks shown at the fashion show. So that will be taking place on Saturday, following the opening ceremony. So at 12:15 at the global stage, and on Sunday at the global stage at 12:30. So you can check that out on Saturday and Sunday. And we are happy to announce vendor registration is closed. We closed with 206 global vendors representing over 68 countries this year. So we will have food from around the world, retail items to purchase, experiences from around the world. There's calligraphy and henna and lots of new experiences for the community to try and experience. So we are super excited to have over 200 vendors. It's going to be huge, you guys. All right. And we had an amazing creative team this year working on Festival of Nations. So one of the things that we did is our creative team got together and wrote a song called Welcome Home. It launched last Friday, and it's available on all streaming platforms. This song will be incorporated in our opening ceremony and fashion show. We encourage you to share it, stream it. It's a fun call and response, but really just echoing the mission of the International Institute as we welcome people home to St. Louis. We want our city singing the song and welcoming everyone alongside us. And the next slide. So some ways that you can participate in Festival. Festival of Nations is a free event for the community. We work really hard to keep it a free event, but there is an elevated experience. So if you or your organization are interested, we have VIP Oasis weekend passes. They are $150, and you can read the screen. It comes with a lot of accommodations. We also are this year having a VIP launch party on Thursday, August 22nd at Piper Palm House at Tower Grove Park. And with your purchase of a weekend pass, you also are invited to that VIP launch party, which is a sneak peek at the festival. So Four Hands will be unveiling our signature cocktails. We'll have a sneak peek of a couple of the, thank you, the launch party. There we are. We'll have a couple of the fashion designers. There'll be a small fashion show. I think we're going to walk like maybe 20 of the looks. So tickets are available. They're $20. If you do not want to buy a VIP weekend pass, single tickets are available for the launch party, which is a great place to come and celebrate the exciting work that has happened and just a preview of what the weekend has in store for us. Yeah, so here's a QR code that you can scan to get the tickets to the VIP Oasis. Parking is included in there, 3 free drinks, an amazing swag bag with a festival survival kit. We also have this year a VIP viewing deck at the global stage. So access to that, free Red Bull. We have Red Bull as a sponsor this year, so there will be free Red Bull in the VIP areas for you to enjoy. So a lot of fun amenities added in this elevated VIP experience. So we need your help. There are still around 300 volunteer positions available. So if your organization would like to come out as a group and volunteer, we definitely need some help at the festival. So setting up on Friday, August 23rd is all day 9 to 5. During the festival, August 24th and 25th is slots start as early as 9 and go till 9 p.m. And then on teardown on Monday, August 26th, just kind of helping us get everything tore down, loaded back into the rental trucks and taken off of the park grounds. So if you are interested in volunteering, we would love some help. Franklin can help get you signed up if you have any questions or if you need help registering a group to come volunteer. We would love to have corporate groups come out and volunteer, or your family. But yeah, it takes many, many hands. We are anticipating 100 to 115,000 festival attendees this year, based on trends that we've seen at other events this summer in St. Louis. And so we want to be ready to be hospitable and welcome folks. And that just takes many people on the ground helping. So we have a great team from the International Institute going to be there. Our festival team will be there. And then hopefully with around 400 volunteers each day, we will be ready to welcome St. Louis. So we'll see you we'll see you next weekend. It's next weekend. We'll see you next weekend.
Great. Thank you very much, Adina. That's exciting for the festival. A lot of new things happening. One, there's going to be an opening ceremony. So I know this is something that we've typically not had, but that opening ceremony, it's at noon on Saturday, August 24th. Something exciting is going to be happening in the park. We ask people to plan accordingly. And also the VIP preview party on Thursday evening. Please plan accordingly, join us, and get an avant-goût of the Festival of Nations as well. So this is some exciting developments, the international fashion show that's going on, and also the music Welcome Home, which tells, we hope that it carries the message beyond the 2 days of the festival to the rest of the days of the year in St. Louis. That should be what we're seeing, and thanks to, as we continue to see an increase in the number of new arrivals. I just want to say that a multicultural St. Louis is in the making. In the last 7 months, we've received people from over 43 countries into St. Louis with speaking over 50 different languages, and that's the multicultural St. Louis that we're making, and the festival is really one way to showcase the diversity, the multiculturalism that really does exist in St. Louis. So please join us, everyone. Join us for this momentous occasion. Coming up next, we have a fall inclusion series, which is part of the work that we do for our multicultural affairs work. And we have this event coming up on Monday, September 16th, from 4 to 6 p.m. Here at the International Institute Hall of Nations. It's my understanding this event is going to be, I know it says ticketed at $10. It's actually going to be free to the public with recommended donations for anyone that's attending. We'll be honored to have the director of the Office of New Americans as a speaker. We'll have a community volunteer, Karen Heitzman, a Congolese community leader, knowing that we've seen significant number of Congolese arrivals. So we're talking, Jan Konde will talk a little bit about some of the experience that the Congolese community is facing, challenges and opportunities. And we have a really engaged civic leader in St. Louis, Susan Gobo, as a speaker. Really, the idea is continuing a conversation around creating a more multicultural St. Louis, as we see an increase in the variety of refugee and immigrant arrivals into the community. So we're looking forward to that. Please plan for that. Put that on your schedule. Promote it as much as you can on your social media handles, if you can. Next up is our community bazaar, and I believe that's going to be Carlos Ramirez, Director for Economic Development, that's going to talk about that. Carlos, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're having our next community bazaar on September 6th. Another great way for the community to come out and try different foods that will be hosted for the community. We're taking a break during the Festival of Nations next week. We'll be continuing our bi-weekly community bazaar on September 6th with food provided by Hyderabadi, Sayak and Saeed Basir. So it's a startup food vendor. We're excited to have them. There will also be merchandise and gifts provided by the Congolese community, and live music by Farshid Ethniko, featuring Emerson as well. Last bazaar, we did host a New American job fair. So our workforce solutions team, working with 7 companies that were also hiring clients of ours. We had about 30 individuals come out for that job fair experience. This job fair is also going to be continued on a monthly basis here during the bazaar, but its main focus is for clients, newly arriving clients, to place them with jobs, and also companies that we're working with specifically around this experience. So we wanted to inform the community about this, but not necessarily, it's more targeted towards the clients and individuals that we're welcoming through the International Institute and other community partners. So just to have on your radar, other upcoming dates of September 20th, October 4th, and the 18th. And if you want to check out more information, we do have our URL at iistl.org/bazaar. So you can find out more information there on an ongoing basis. So appreciate everyone for coming out. It's always a great festive experience. It'll continue to be outside on our front lawn. And then once November comes along, we'll head inside into our cafeteria for the bazaar to continue there. So also thankful for our partners with the Operation Food Searches St. Louis Metro Market, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for the access to food that will continue to provide for the for our clients and the community as well. So we'll look forward to seeing you next on September 6th.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for that. This Bazaar thing, which we started almost 2 years now, has been growing with steam, and I'm excited about the job fair that has been added to that, just so that we can scale up opportunities for people to get connected to work. As we see more people coming, we want to create a pipeline directly to work as fast as people can, and hopefully the employers that are coming out ready to employ people. With that, I'm going to just pause a little bit for us to talk about our strategic planning process. Some of you did participate in the process, but I'll call on the Director of Strategic Initiatives here at the International Institute, Casey Cardonio, to talk about that.
Thank you, Ari. So I wanted to present you with a little bit of an update on where we are in our strategic planning process. We started this process earlier this year. Many of you were involved with it because we sent you a link to take a survey on your perceptions and community-wide perceptions of the International Institute of St. Louis. So I want to take a pause here to thank you, everybody who responded to that survey. We aggregated that data along with a lot of other data, both secondary and primary research, and we presented that along with a reading list of books that could inform our strategic planning process to a committee that included members of our frontline staff, our leadership team, our board members, and community stakeholders, some of which are here on this call, so thank you for joining us. We met for a 2-day planning session. That was a very intense session. That was a couple of weeks ago now, July 29th and 30th, to actually come up with our new strategic plan. And we are now at the point where that plan is under review. So we have several groups. It'll go through several phases of review. And the end goal is to have our board approve that plan and adopt it to go into effect at the beginning of next year. So we're expecting that process to lead us all the way through early September with our Q3 board meeting. And following that, we will have additional updates for you on that strategic plan. The next steps here at the International Institute then will be to derive some tactical steps that we can take in 2025. That will go into our annual plan of action, and that will trickle down into the goals that lead our agency's progress forward as we start the new year. So thank you so much again for your involvement in this process. You're always welcome to reach out to us if you have any questions, and we will be making that plan public as soon as we have the approval process is complete. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Casey. That's also something that we're excited about and looking forward to what the next 3 years would hold for the organization as we continue to build an organization that is resilient, that is providing a lot more holistic services to arrivals within the community, and that is also playing a significant part in the development of the entire community. I want to thank everyone that contributed to the process. We look forward to sharing with you the outcomes. Next, at this point, I'm going to ask if there are any. I know we have volunteer shout outs, and I'm trying to make sure that the Director of Community Engagement is here. There she is.
I'm here.
All right. I'm going to turn this over to Kelly Moore to talk about our community shout outs and volunteer opportunities.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here. We have quite a few groups to thank this month, and the first one is the Crazy Faith Church group. They came here for a week and provided a lot of operational support. It was about 10 volunteers for the whole week. That was really great. We had a day of service from Deloitte. About 30 plus volunteers came, also worked hard to help clean up our donation room and do other activities throughout the building. Thank you to Deloitte. We have Lackton Insurance Company held a toy drive for us and donated over 121 toys with different types of toys, different things going to our new Americans. Lusco came up and helped with the bazaar set up and tear down last week. Thank you to Lusco. And we really want to give a special shout out to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who's been helping with our food donation and letting the bazaar happen, where we have a food distribution for clients who are needing essential items. So they've donated some funds to keep that program going. Thank you very much. We're still looking for volunteers. Just right now, I really want to encourage the festival. So keep your radar on that. But if you would like to come to the Institute during the week and help us with other projects, we are still looking for job interview practice volunteers. This is now happening every week, Fridays from 9:15 to 12:15. Still looking for bus trainers and a benefits assistant, somebody to help with paperwork and applying for benefits. Always need apartment setups, so that it happens throughout the week, Monday through Friday. If that do have to be willing to walk upstairs and 2-story apartments. If you're willing and able, you can always host a fundraiser or donation drive for us, helping our new arrivals. And last but not least, we're looking with all those new arrivals that, as Mira talked about in the beginning of this call, we are looking for people to help grocery shop. We also have our list on Target and Walmart of donation items, and we're always looking for $50 gift cards to grocery stores or Visa gift cards, and any amount would be appreciative. For more information, here are the names and people who you can get a hold of. If you're interested in doing in-kind donation drives, Samari Desu can help you. Abdul Nouri can help you with our housing, and Frank at Cooper can help you get up started to volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelly, for that update on opportunities. We have about 5 minutes left. I'm not sure if there are any questions that I have not seen in the chat that anyone can remind me of. But at this point, any questions from the audience? Okay, hearing or seeing none, I want to thank you all for being here. I hope that this update has been helpful. It gives you a sense of what we are up to, how you can get involved. But as always, we thank you and we count on your continuous support for us to do this work in this community. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and hopefully we'll see you at the Festival of Nations.